Good afternoon. You are joining us live from the circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia, for round 9 of the MotoGP World Championship. I'm Amy Reynolds and I'm joined by Simon Crafar, and we've got some breaking news to kick things off with. Fabio Quartararo has signed a 2-year deal to remain with Monster Energy factory Yamaha. Simon, a massive coup for Yamaha to keep their #1 man, and a great line in the press release from Fabio Quartararo, essentially alluding to the fact that it was Yamaha who put their belief in Fabio from the beginning, and it's something he does not take lightly.
Yeah, and I think from a rider's point of view, it's always a risk to jump ship, and ride something. Can you ride something else that fast? I don't think Fabio had any doubts that he could do it on another machine, but I've got to say, fantastic for Yamaha, because Fabio's like the Marquez of Honda for Yamaha. I think Yamaha had to try their best to keep him. And my thoughts on that, I mean, Fabio's rode, I've said repeatedly, rode amazing all this year. He's the only one riding the Yamaha to that level. And my latest thoughts on it are, for years, rookies got on the Yamaha straight from Moto2 and really went well. And for some reason, Yamaha have lost that, and I'm not sure why. And either way, until they figure it out, they have to keep Fabio,
Yeah.
They've got to, and congratulations to them. I'm sure they're going to have a bunch more good results because he's on fire.
Well, he comes into this Grand Prix with 8 points in his hand in the championship standings. Aleix Espargaro has been the most consistent rider, arguably, of late, Simon. And it's not an unlikely scenario that potentially when we do get to the midway point of this season, head off for the summer break, that we could see a swing in the championship standings. Now, that brings me on to my next point, in that Aleix Espargaro, he comes here to his home race, and it really is a home race for him. It's literally like next door to where he's originally from, both him and Paul. He is riding the crest of the wave. He is second in the World Championship standings. He's coming off 4 consecutive podiums. He's got his deal in the bag for next year. As a rider, how amazing do you feel arriving in that kind of position to your home race?
I can only relate it to turning up to Phillip Island, because that was the closest thing to my home race. And I think Aleix, well, I know he'll be going into it treating it exactly the same as any other race, meaning you've got to do all your homework with the crew chief. You've got to do the same, run through the same things, do everything the best you can. The special things come when you hop off the bike, to me, and that is, he will hopefully get to stand on the podium and see, family and friends. That's the big one, Otherwise, I think it's super important to do what you've been doing, because we spoke about it earlier, about Aleix. The thing is, when things are going right, it feels easier, because you always try your best. But when things are going right, the result comes. And it feels like you've tried no harder than you did when you were not going well, just things fall into place. And like you said, it's riding the crest of a wave, and that's where Aleix is right now.
Well, lots to look forward to this weekend. We're going to touch back on permutations for this Barcelona race in just a second. But we have to reflect back on Mugello. A really, really important win for Pecco Bagnaia after the disappointment of Le Mans. Obviously, as well, it meant he really turned his fortunes around in Mugello, because he hasn't had the best history there, shall we say. But he is still 41 points down in the championship standings. Long way to go. Is it recoverable? Because whilst it sounds 41 points, it's not something to be sniffed at, because it's still significant, but it's not a mountain. I was going to say a B-word mountain. Okay.
My thoughts on that are, first of all, Pecco's not so good run at Mugello. I think he was one of the favourites to win last year. It's just he was very rattled, and I completely believe it, because I was on the grid when we had that minute silence, and I was struggling to keep composed. And can you imagine going out and getting on a bike? And I genuinely believe he was rattled, made a mistake, and he was on for the win, you know, or at least to fight for it. So now it must have felt good to turn it around and prove that with this win. About the points, he's on form right now, so the thing is, he's got to hope that his opposition makes some mistakes like he has, and we're not even halfway. So there is a long way to go. 40 points. I mean, all it takes is his opposition to have one fall and a couple of average ones and you're there.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's well doable for him to still fight for the championship. Yeah, long way to go.
Talking about his opposition, Fabio Quartararo, we've touched on him at the start. He is the man in the headlines today. But what an impressive ride from him to be able to kind of withstand the pressure of the Ducatis, Aleix on the Aprilia. Just put into context for everyone at home how impressive that was.
Sorry, Aleix on the Aprilia or?
Fabio
on the Yamaha. About Fabio, he was a little bit lost all weekend at Mugello. Didn't have the same front feel and bike turning and confidence that he needs. Because Mugello, the good thing about Mugello is there's passing opportunities because of the change of direction. As they pull it back, you can dive in and kind of do a block pass, as well as the normal braking passes. Fabio struggled with front feel and turning all weekend, but found it for the race, you know. And one of the things he changed was going back to the original wing, downforce-wise, but whatever else it was, he was awesome. Like, it was one of equal to, if not the best ride I've seen this season. It was absolutely fantastic. The good thing about Mugello again is that there's a lot of braking on an angle. You need good turning to get the exit, you know. It's not all about top speed. You only use that top speed once a lap. And Fabio again proved he can make the Yamaha competitive, even if it's slow on the straight, by using all of the other things that he and his bike does well.
We touched on Aleix Espargaro in terms of the mental side of his game at the moment and how high he is in that side, but he's also arguably the most consistent rider on the grid right now. Consistently
excellent, you know, and his bad day is because he can't get past in it, and say it's a sixth or around, you know, close to there, still single figures. Everywhere else, if he gets the qualifying, gets the start, he is there. He's can't praise him enough. And if you judge the season, like I said in After the Flag last week, if you judge the season, you know, on excellence, he's clearly the leader, you know.
We also have to touch on a couple of other really impressive rides from both the Mooney VR46 riders, Marco Bezzecchi and Luca Marini. Obviously, they were there on that front row. Overall, it was just a really impressive weekend. And you could argue that perhaps a bit of home advantage had a part to play in that, but it doesn't. It's not the full. It doesn't give you a full advantage, does it?
Not at all.
Do you think they're capable of performing like that again this season?
Home race. I mean, how nice would it have felt to go so well? You know, the two of them leading. You know, fighting for the lead at your home race. Fantastic for their sponsors as well. They know the track well. That's one good thing. Bez is outstanding as a rookie on that machine, which again, sorry Bez, I've got to bring up, is arguably the best bike, has been for all last year, and this one, the 21 Ducati. But he's putting it to good use, and yes, he will have a ride like that again this season. You know, he's only learning. Meaning he's going to get more experience as the year goes on, and when he comes to the places that suit him and his machine, like Mugello did, he's going to have another ride like that. The other good thing to see, Marini is on the 22 bike, and all of the riders on the 22 bike have had a tougher season. I've watched his machine set up all year, and they've tried everything. They've gone round and round, and everything from one extreme like Jack to the other extreme, you know, and the last couple of races, it's settled down and he's stuck to the same thing, and looks like he's found the sweet spot with that bike that works for him. I think we're going to see more of Luca as well. Again, at the tracks that suit him and his machine.
Do you know, I think the other thing that is important to point out is not only, obviously, Marco's a rookie, Luca is only in his second year.
Exactly.
But the team's brand new as well. You know, that's a lot of, okay, they've got some really experienced guys in that team.
Yep.
But to get everything to work cohesively together, that's impressive that at round 8, they were able to put a weekend. It was not a fluke, it was consistent across the weekend. So another thing that we need to kind of really doff our caps to.
Yeah, I think you've really covered it. They're, although new to MotoGP, they're experienced team, and they've pulled in experience, into the team. The thing is, what we eventually saw was experience, meaning the more experienced guys in MotoGP came through, and we kind of knew they would. Meaning, it's one thing to go fast at the front, and brilliant, hats off to them. But the more experienced guys know how to keep it going all the way to the end, you know. And that's what these less experienced, meaning Bez and Luca, are going to figure out during this year and into next.
There were some big hitters in that race that unfortunately fell. Nea Bastianini being one of them, Pol Espargaro, and then unfortunately both Suzuki riders went down for a second race in a row. In particular with the Suzuki riders, Simon, how much do we read into their last 2 races?
I think from a rider's point of view, don't panic. They are the guys they are, I think I started to wonder at Mugello if there was something being affected by the announcement, and my latest thoughts are, have they taken a wrong direction on some setup-wise, something parts-wise? Because Joan isn't that bad. I've been impressed by Joan Mir since he turned up to MotoGP, and what I've seen over the last race or so is a rattled Joan Mir that I've never seen before, and it's either effect of this no job, and partly that. It's either that, or they've made, like I said, a wrong turn on machine setup or parts that we don't know have gone into it, and it's not working. And it'll be really interesting to see if they can turn it around here or soon. It's either 1, Joan rattled, machine, 2, something wrong, or a combination of the both.
It's going to be really interesting to watch what they do at the Barcelona test, because obviously with the team departing at the end of this season, you can't think that they'll be bringing many new parts to test, so that means you focus on setup, right? Yeah,
but the bike has been good always. And even if it was slower, it was always a good bike. And that's what they've lost, over the last couple of races. They've lost something. And I think they can find it by going back, you know what I mean? Like, if you make a mistake, it's easy to go back and look where you've made it and figure it out. And I think that's what we're going to see. It's been less, Alex Rins was very good at Le Mans, but got caught out with that draft and ran off track. So we can't say Alex has got lost, No. And he was not bad at Mugello coming through, had that contact with Tucker and went down. So it looks like different problems on different sides of the garage.
It was also not a bad race for KTM. P7 and P9, Brad Binder and Miguel Oliveira came across the line respectively. But not exactly why I want to pick your brains aside, because Miguel does find himself, and particularly his future, as one of the hot topics of the paddock. In recent times, Pit Beirer has gone on record and has said that Miguel's seat is unfortunately vulnerable, and has said that he needs to be open to looking at the Tech 3 seat, something that Miguel has actually gone back and said, I'm not interested in that. But if you were team manager, that is a really difficult situation to see through, I think, at the moment, because why would you get rid of your most successful rider in MotoGP? Also, worth pointing out, our most recent winner here in Barcelona.
Excuse me.
No worries. Allergies are really bad here, aren't they, this weekend? Why would you get rid of your most successful rider in MotoGP, most recent winner here in Barcelona, in favour of an unknown factor, let's say? There's all sorts of names been thrown up, like Jack Miller, Alex Rins, but none have experience on KTM.
Okay, this is my thought on the offer from KTM to go to Tech 3,
Yep.
I mentioned it in the commentary last week, is what I see, the reason for doing that is, look, we've already got Miguel. It's very hard to get a top-notch rider to come to our satellite team. Nothing against Tech 3, it's just less attractive to go to a satellite team than it is a factory team. So if we can shuffle Miguel over to Tech 3, promise him we'll give him the same stuff and the same money or whatever, then we've got something more attractive to get another top-notch guy. So that's the first part of it. I think Miguel doesn't like it, but I can understand why the factory is saying that. Then Brad Binder has been amazing, hasn't he?
Yeah.
The thing that I see is Brad is incredible at forcing something that doesn't want to do it
Yeah.
every Sunday. It's amazing. The thing is, Miguel is my opinion of him is very high. I think he's one of the very fastest guys on the grid. He's just more sensitive. He has to have the bike right.
Yeah.
He has to have everything right. I think he's more sensitive riding-wise, more sensitive as a person, a very nice, intelligent guy. I would really not want to get rid of Miguel if I was KTM, because if you don't plan fixing the bike, then yeah, okay, find another Binder to force it. But if you do plan fixing that bike, Miguel is going to win again on it. He's good. So they're in a tricky situation. I wouldn't want to lose Miguel.
Worth mentioning, I actually did miss out one name that has also been linked to that seat, Pol Espargaro, who obviously does have KTM
and they love him.
experience.
They've said that before.
Exactly. Well, I think by judging how many people are filling into this press conference room, we should move on to permutations for this weekend. Now, out of the current field, if we take Marc Marquez, who we send our very, very best wishes to, we believe he is potentially going under, or is going under the surgeon's knife for a fourth time on that right radius. It is right radius. I always get the radius. No, that's not radius, is it? Anyway,
sorry,
moving
I'm
on.
no doctor.
Right shoulder. And we wish him the very best with his long recovery. Stefan Bradl is in this weekend for Mark. More news on that as we learn it this weekend from Alberto Pucci. I'm sure there'll be an update on how he is feeling after surgery. But take Marc Marquez out of the equation, out of the current field. There's only two previous winners, Fabio Quartararo and Miguel Oliveira. But a lot of names that you could list as being hot favourites for this weekend.
What I'd like to get across to the viewers is it's not all about being the fastest guy at Catalunya. It's about getting that rear tyre to the end. But so even when you see qualifying, you don't know who's going to win, because qualifying purely is the fastest guy. But how long is he fast for? The reason I say it, this track layout tortures the rear tyre. I would say it gives the rear tyre as hard a time as anywhere on the planet we go. And so super important to make that tyre last, and we will watch an FP4 to who can do that. You don't have to be the fastest man, it's who can get it to the end, overall fastest.
And how much does the fact that everybody knows Barcelona like the back of their hand, they could probably ride this circuit with their eyes closed, how much does that play into things as well?
I think it does play in that you've already made the mistake of destroying your rear tyre before.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that again. So work all weekend to make that bike turn well so you don't have to destroy the edge grip. Sorry to keep talking about tyres, but that's what Catalunya is about. And so knowledge, both crew chief, team and rider, it's putting all that together, working over the weekend to get the package to, like I said, overall be the fastest man.
So with all that in mind, Simon, who are we naming? Suzuki's, Fabio?
I genuinely don't know. I mean,
Leish.
I just don't know. What we're going to see is people going for it at the beginning and then dropping back, and other riders coming storming through, that have conserved. So I really don't know. Like I said, it mugs game to predict who's going to win at MotoGP, because I just don't know.
Absolutely love that terminology. Well, we are ready to head over to our press conference now, hosted by Matt Burt.